Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors meeting for September 2nd to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just like to ask everyone to please double check any electronic devices, cell phones, anything like that. Make sure that they're either off or they're in vibrate mode. Thank you. This meeting was duly advertised in accordance with the second class township code in the Lancaster newspaper on December 23rd of 2020. I would like to announce that there was an executive session that was held. That executive session was yesterday, and that was held for legal matters as well as for contractual matters. Past meeting minutes for approval. Gentlemen, do we have any additions, changes? Yeah, I didn't see anything. No, correct? Okay. Yes, sir.
Just, yeah, I had a correction under public comment. It goes on, let's see, we're on page 505. And it was according to a written note that was submitted by Mr. Macklin. He noted that it looks like more than 15% of Tony Longo's sick time was paid back. I'd like to amend the minutes to show what was really said. And that was that this board saw fit to ignore the employee handbook and wrote him a check for $19,730.48 when in fact he was due $2,959.57. Since these minutes are supposed to be a reflection of what really happened.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The Board of Supervisors saw fit to ignore the employee handbook and paid Tony $19,730.48 when he was due $2,959.57. That's a difference of $16,770.91. And that, we told the board, I told the board last meeting, and nothing ever happened. No one gave me an answer on anything. We sat there.
So what we'll do is I'll make a motion to approve them as they are pending the change, and then what we can do is ask Lisa to call you to make sure that's reflective of what your comments were.
Thank you.
Is that fair?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. So there's a motion on the table. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, and that motion carries. So action items. Land planning and engineering, village of Cocalico.
Yeah, these are the two items that are on tonight's agenda are pretty straightforward, more procedural, so we want to have everybody here from Becker Engineering. The first one, the Village of East Cocalico Final Subdivision Land Development Plan. On August 26, 2021, the East Cocalico Township Authority issued a sanitary sewer treatment capacity letter and certification for this project. For those who don't know, this project includes 5 single-family dwellings and 118 townhouse units. There's an extension of the authority sewer system to serve this, so The authority had to identify that they have the capacity available for this project. It's estimated about 31,372 gallons per day. In exchange, since the sewer is treated at the Effort Borough Authority, they certified as well that they have sufficient conveyance capacity in the upper interceptor line, which takes the sewage there and gets treated at plant number 2. They have the sufficient treatment capacity there. So as part of this process, the board is required to sign off on the DEP sewage facilities postcard exemption for public sewage service for this project. So the motion that's in front of the board tonight is a motion to authorize a representative from the Board of Supervisors to sign Section 8D of the DEP sewage facilities postcard exemption for public sewage service related to the Village at East final subdivision and land development plan.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Before we go there,
Yeah.
I would like to, for transparency purposes, I will be recusing myself for any votes with East Cocalico Associates. I've had a business relationship with them for quite a few years, and I don't think it's proper for me to be voting on any of their business going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will make that motion.
I will second.
And second. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. One recusal.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. And next one?
Next one is 395 Lone Hill Road, the Out Stormwater Management Plan. The applicant the consultant submitted a stormwater management plan and report in May of 2021. The plan includes the construction of a single-family dwelling and a barn on a 24.85-acre woodland property at 395 Mones Hill Road. Subject property currently does not have any improvements. It's located in the Conservation Zoning District. This plan includes improving existing logging lane to serve as a driveway, and the site will be served by an on-site well and on-site sanitary sewer system. The stormwater facilities are being designed to accommodate the 17,960 square feet of proposed impervious surface. It's under 1 acre threshold, so there's no NPDES permit required. And at this point in time, the time extension has been requested because the applicant is currently coordinating the installation of these improvements with the township SEO, and then we'll be submitting an updated plan. Essentially, want to make sure that with the well, the sewer does not impact, and the stormwater aren't impacting each other. So the request of action from the board is a motion to accept the written time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant, dated August 24th, 2021, to extend the deadline for action on the 395 Mones Hill Road Stormwater Management Plan until November 18th, 2021.
And do I hear a motion for that extension offer?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And a second. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Those were the only two, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So moving on to the 2014 Ford Police Interceptor proposal and award for municipal.
I think the chief, you want to
Comments?
I'd be happy to announce that the winning bid for received today for the utility SUV was $5,100.
$5,100.
Correct. Which was much higher than I thought we would get, but I guess the price of used cars went for that much, so I'm very happy. I think we probably have to accept that for a motion, but
Going to Philadelphia.
I believe so. Probably be on the streets of the taxi, but you never know.
Who knows?
So that was done through municipal bid, so I will make a motion that we accept the municipal bid offer for $5,100 for the 2014 Police Interceptor
So, yeah, a utility vehicle,
utility vehicle.
Nicholas Adelaide, I think,
and that will be Nicholas Adeleye, A-D-E-L-E-Y. I'm sorry, A-D-E-L-E-Y-E, for the police interceptor utility vehicle. Any questions? Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Okay, Mike, I guess update for the RFPs that we sent out for the township solicitor due to Tom's retiring at the end of the year. You want to give a little comment about that?
Sure. As you guys who've been attending meetings are aware, the township is planning for that transition with our legal services and our solicitor position. So we did send out an RFP to firms in and around Lancaster County, First County, in and around the area. We did receive 5 proposals for the township supervisors to review. Developed a short list of 3 and met with those 3 firms, had a chance to ask questions, find out a little bit more about what they're looking to do, how they envision serving East Cocalico, and focusing on some, obviously, direction that the township would like to go. Just trying to get input so that the board can eventually make their decision. I think that going back, they'll be considering that, and I believe we're anticipating having that as an action item on the September 16th meeting agenda.
I think what's critical to add there is what we're trying to do here is make sure that we don't have any gap in coverage, let's call it that, or that whichever solicitor we end up discussing publicly and voting on, that solicitor really has an overlap time with our current solicitor to make it for an easier transition and smoother transition going forward, because I believe Tom has been with us, Doug, help me out here.
Forever.
Forever? All right.
Since he's put away from KL, for KL 30, KL shoot.
Well over 25 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
91. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? Next item, Mike, temporary masking policy for the building.
Yeah, as we were putting together the packet and the agenda for tonight's meeting and looking at some of the changes and issues with the COVID concerns right now, and I know that's, as you see, the schools are all addressing this now, at least based off of the state's mandate. We don't have that type of mandate here, but it was asked to put on the agenda to discuss consideration for whether we want to look at a type of temporary masking policy for meetings and visitors to the township municipal building.
I had asked Mike to put it on the agenda. I don't believe, it's just me, but I don't believe that we can require you to tell me whether or not you had your shot. I don't believe that's any of our business. I don't believe that we require that. But some people may be more comfortable if others were wearing a mask. To me personally, I think mocks me. It doesn't, I don't have a hard on either side of it. But I thought that in lieu of or light of the governor's executive order mandate or whatever you call it, I thought it was worthy of discussion.
sorry.
Doesn't matter.
For,
Is it a mandate? I don't know.
for the public schools.
Right,
No.
which we are not.
Right. You're right, we're not.
They're challenging it already because it can only be mandated under an emergency, is my understanding.
Right, and there was some thought you circumvented that by having the Secretary of Health issue the order as opposed to, yeah. But you're right, it'll end up in the court, I don't disagree with you there at all. As I said, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable when they come to the township office. But I just think it's not, it's not in our place to ask if you had your shot. It's not our business.
Well, I've been in buildings, again, it doesn't matter, I've been in buildings where the sign says, asking is your choice. You know, they're not gonna make it, if you feel comfortable, put it on, if you don't wear it, it's no big deal.
Country so far.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying as a critical care,
I'm sorry.
Cheryl for a second.
Thank you.
Hi, honestly. As a critical care nurse and majored in biology, and it's so maddening, just to remind everybody, there is no science behind any mask. No mask stops a virus. And N95, we would wear in the hospital for TB. TB is bacteria, and it's big. But no mask stops a virus. So if you want to follow true science, but if it makes somebody feel better, wear it. But it can actually do more harm, creating the bacteria inside the mask, bacterial pneumonias, etc. So I'm just kind of giving some expertise to the mask, to the mask phenomenon.
I appreciate the feedback, I really do, because I want us to do the best that we can with this, and we need timely information, because there's all kinds of, group information and misinformation.
Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell. Just as a personal opinion, I think the mask should be something that is a personal choice. If it makes you feel comfortable wearing a mask, by all means, wear a mask. I don't have a problem with someone who chooses to wear a mask for themselves. Me personally, I think masks do more harm than good. They give you a false sense of security. And I travel a lot, I'm around a lot of people, and I see how people treat their masks. They don't do any good. I've been around people, and I've traveled throughout the whole pandemic with masks, without masks, and I've had no issues because I do follow hand sanitizing. I do try to distance myself from people that I don't know, so forth and so on. They are common sense practices that are accepted worldwide. A mask, personal choice. If someone feels comfortable wearing it, by all means, I'll give them a mask. You know, for me personally, I don't think they do any good. So I would say that the township could do something where the mask wearing is personal choice. I think the township would get a lot of respect from the residents for standing up and saying it is personal choice. And you get probably more people participating than not.
Thank you, thanks all.
Yes, ma'am.
Jim Kinback, from what I understand, our area does not have sufficient numbers of people who are in the hospital or who are diagnosed with a virus. So therefore, they cannot mandate that in our area.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, no, I might as well put my 2 cents in as well, Greg. You know, I was an advocate for the Zoom meetings last winter. You know, there was no vaccine available at that time. I think it was a good idea just to help keep us all isolated a bit. We could still conduct meetings. We could still have back and forth conversation. I felt that nothing was missed by doing that. Right now, we're in a different ballgame. People that want to get vaccinated, they can. And you know, I don't have all the answers on this, but, you know, I feel a little bit more secure myself having been vaccinated. So, you know, I think that puts us in the situation that if you want to wear a mask, you feel comfortable, go ahead. You know, I feel like the vaccination has helped me somewhat weather the storm. You know, where we go from here, who knows? None of us do. So, you know, I'm all right with people not wearing a mask at this point.
Well, I guess I'll just say, so you have my opinion on it also. My opinion is really what I said last time, and that is, I resonate with what some of the residents just said. I'm a big believer that you're all intelligent individuals, you're all intelligent constituents, you're all adults. You can make your own decision. It's a personal choice on whether you wear a mask in the building or not. I don't think we have enough government intrusion. I don't think you need any more government intrusion in terms of us mandating whether you need a mask or you don't. You need a mask in the building. I personally have a serious question that very few people have been able to answer on a personal side, and that is, I don't know how these companies that require masking or not require, or I should say require it, and then they want to see cards related to whether you have vaccinations or not. I don't understand how that actually can happen considering medical confidentiality. I don't know how they're doing that, and that's something that I don't even want to ever broach with a resident, a visitor, a contractor, or anything like that. So we have the structure in place, as Jeff said. We put the structure in place where if a resident's not comfortable coming to a meeting in person, not a problem, they have Zoom. If a vendor, if one of our contractors, if one of our engineers decides to attend via Zoom for whatever reason, a specific day, the structure, the infrastructure, the technology is there to do it all. Okay? So we've provided that level of flexibility. So what I'm saying is I'm in agreement that I don't think we need to put any kind of masking policy in place. I trust our residents, I trust our contractors, I trust our engineers, I trust everyone who comes in and out of the building that they're responsible adults. That's how I look at it. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Thank you, Carl. Next item on the agenda. Mike, you want to say some things? That's the traffic impact fee, vacancy membership.
Yep, our Transportation Impact Fee Advisory Committee right now is at 6 members. We are required to have no less than 7, no more than 16. The advisory committee did receive interest from 2 residents to serve on the committee, Crystal Sesnick, Crystal's here tonight, and Josh Ben. I invited both to come to meet with the board. Both Crystal and Josh had been recommended by the TIF Advisory Committee for the Board of Supervisors to consider appointing them to that committee. Crystal's here tonight. Josh had called earlier today and said he works in an industry that, because of last night's storm, he's working tonight. So he apologized, said he wouldn't be here, but he said he would be willing to come if we don't get another rain like that at the one in September, if you wanted to meet with him and have a chance to talk. So both did submit a letter of interest, and again, I'd asked them to come and maybe if they wanted to introduce themselves to the board, and if you had any questions about their interest, they could do that tonight. And as you consider, the opportunity to learn more about them, but also if you're inclined then to make a motion to appoint, if it's just Crystal since she's here tonight, and maybe we could take Josh's up at September 16th meeting, that's something that the board could consider as well.
Yes, sir.
Quick question on that. This is the first I'm hearing about any openings on the TIF committee. Was it a public announcement was made that they were seeking more members, or how was it determined that these 2 candidates were the ones selected to appear before the board?
So on the website.
Yeah, that's been out for a while.
Okay.
And I think at
I
the
just wanted
last,
to make sure I understood where it was coming from, because it's the first I'm hearing.
prior to the last TIF meeting, which happened in July? August, time flies. Having fun. That one of the members did have to step down from the committee, which dropped us below the 7 members that we were required to have. So at that meeting as well, that's when there was, I believe, Crystal, you were at that meeting, and I believe the TIF committee also mentioned at that time there were 3 possible candidates, and 1 no has since withdrawn and is not going to be considered. So what came to the board were the 2 that had met with the committee and been passed on.
Josh was at that meeting too.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys still
I'm sorry.
accepting, Lorenzo Benoit, sorry,
Thank you.
are you guys still accepting other applicants per se, or? I'd like to, you know, if there's availability, I'd like to volunteer.
The TIF committee is a separate committee. The best person to ask is to ask the TIF committee if they're doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, so otherwise we'd be speaking on their behalf.
Okay,
We try to keep them as an independent committee.
okay, thank you.
Okay?
So I don't know if you wanted to hear from Ms. Sensenich anything, or ask her any questions, or if you're comfortable with her letter.
No, I was very comfortable with the letter and then the comments from the TIF committee. Yeah. So, thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
So if you want to move forward, then again, if you want to wait to meet with Josh,
I think we should.
there's a motion to appoint Crystal Sensenich to fill the vacant position on the one of the vacant positions on the Transportation Impact Fee Advisory.
Okay, and do I have that motion?
I'll make that.
Do I have a second?
All right, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
And there are no term limits on that, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so you know, that doesn't say, Susan,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
we're 8.
No, I think one of your people had stepped down.
We're 8.
Count your number. Can you say, you know?
I'll talk to you after.
Okay. I thought when I counted total, the one had contacted the township and said she was no longer going to be,
Marcia?
yeah.
Yeah, no, we're left with 8. We have 8 with you.
With both of them?
Yes.
Yeah, but Josh hasn't been appointed yet. So we're up to 7 now.
I'm just telling you, that's where we'd be.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, I
Oh,
can.
in total, right, Susie, in total. In total, right.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Moving on to the planning commission vacancy. Want to say a couple words there?
Sure. The planning commission at their last meeting accepted the resignation of G. Sidney Schlegel. His term runs through December 31st, 2022. They did receive 3 letters from township residents interested in being considered for that vacancy. Sarah Means, Alan Fry, and W. Alan Maxwell. I did send an email, and this is kind of, I was hoping to get something back a little sooner so the board could deal with this, or at least consider it, review it before tonight's meeting, but figure I can update the board. I did just send an email to the planning commission chair, just to make sure that he had copies of all 3 of those, and to see if the planning commission would submit a recommendation in writing to the board, and just wanted to make sure that we followed their process. I did get a response back today, this afternoon, that they, and it indicated that vacancies on the planning commission don't happen too often, and when they usually do, they're struggling to recruit somebody to participate. We rarely get 3 applicants to do something like that. Said he couldn't remember even having more than 1 named person to recommend to the board, and didn't really know because of that, there really hadn't been any established procedures regarding interviews, meeting with applicants. I think from the township's end, we've always requested a letter of interest so that we can see who's asking to go on their interest in the board and get a chance to learn a little bit more. So the planning commission members did not meet, and they don't have a process to meet. They did, I guess, look at a consensus of a preference, and they have proposed a preference to the board, but the person, I didn't have the opportunity to invite everybody to this meeting tonight, so I don't know if you want to wait to the 16th, and we can do that officially. There's still time for the planning commission meeting, or if you want to work off of the email that came from the planning commission and move forward here.
When was their next meeting? Because they need that more.
Their next meeting is it's later in the month. We have
Okay, so it's after ours. Okay.
Yeah, we meet prior.
Okay. All right. So, I have that email here, I saw that documentation here, so I don't know if you gentlemen had a chance to see it, so. Okay, then I'll defer, then maybe we should just wait.
Yeah,
Let's wait.
with the timing, it's kind of awkward, and you guys will see as we work through the next couple of months, with the change in the law and how we have to have things on the agenda for discussion. There's times that things have to be put on there, but they may not be ready in the event that something is ready to happen. So it's always good, it's additional discussion, but it also may seem a little bit choppy for the next couple months till we all work through the law.
Okay. All right, so then we'll go ahead and table that one for the next meeting. Is that okay, gentlemen? Okay.
We meet prior to that.
Prior to that, so timing wise, it's okay. All right, so moving on to department reports. Chief.
Good evening. I will keep it short and sweet. First, I would say that I received a compliment from last night's corporal, and the other officers who worked, saying that the East Cocalico Road crew and the Denver Borough Road crew did a phenomenal job throughout the storm. They were out, they were in contact, taking care of different areas and different issues. So they wanted me to say thank you to them, to the road crews, and make everyone aware that they did a phenomenal job. So once again, they did good. The department is aware, and I've been made aware of numerous intersections where trucks are traveling where they're not supposed to be and making turns where they're not supposed to be, from, say, Stevens Road on the Line Road, Wabash Road on the Line Road, R2, and the other one we got a call today again in reference to Loush Road at North Reamstown Road. I guess the stakes that are in the ground of the township were hit once again. Again, I know I talked to Mike briefly today about it, in reference to potentially getting the concrete bells. I know he was working on it, so I don't want to put any pressure on anyone, but we're aware, but that intersection is not good, so.
Yeah, I think the one item with the bollards, if you've been through, they've worked successfully in one corner in Denver Borough, new trucks. The only, which I mentioned to the chief today, is they had to be sort of stabilized in a concrete footer so that they didn't move or the trucks didn't push them. And in this area, we have just grass, and so we're trying to figure out how do we work through that. The last thing we want to do is put them in and then we're out there responding because they're sitting sideways, and then we're trying to take that work. So in the end, I did reach out again today to the transportation people at Acme. I started there, spoke with a representative there, and drafted an email back to them asking for their plan to make sure how we can keep those trucks, any trucks coming from their facility off of that road and turning onto there. The chief did mention to me there are two other companies down there that I could follow up with as well, New Holland Truck and Petco, I believe, was the other one.
I think it's pet food distributor.
So we'll do that again, and we're just going to kind of keep pushing them in the interim as well to make sure that they notify all those drivers of where they can go and where they shouldn't be, as well as the road crew did go out today and clean up part of what was damaged yesterday or today, the truck turning there. So it's going to be a sort of a concerted effort to try and approach on all these different avenues to see what we can do, and hopefully we can get the trucks moving where they need to be and out of those bad intersections. And if they do venture down there, then we can keep everybody safe and the property safe as well. So we're just going to kind of approach it from different avenues to see where we go.
Control's aware. In fact, when I I was out heading somewhere, going through Denver Borough. The truck turned at the Denver Beverage to go over the bridge, and I stopped him before he was able to do that and helped him back out. But it's an ongoing thing that we're aware of. I wish there would be some magic wand I could wave to stop him from doing it, but it seems like once the GPS tells them to go a certain way, that's the way to go. So we're aware of it and attempting to stop it, but you never know if there's, many times it's not the same drivers and they're from out of state, so we're still working on that, or we'll continue to work on that. And the last thing I have is, Sergeant Projan and I attended a police expo in Atlantic City last week and found a couple of different products that would probably be beneficial to the department. The one that I'll bring up and talk about tonight real quick, since we, got $5,100 for a car that we weren't expecting, I figured it would be a good time to bring it up. So, it's called Data Pilot, and I can kind of hold it up, it looks like a cell phone. And what this does is it allows our officers, detectives, to immediately and on the scene download things from people's cell phones that they capture. Whether it's pictures, videos, text messages, screenshots, those type of things. Normally what we have to do now is we would ask for consent for the phone, and this is more in a consensual manner, not a search warrant manner. For those type of investigations, we will continue to take it down to the county forensic, or the office down at the county courthouse. Sergeant Doobie and his team are phenomenal with trying to get the phones turned around quickly so we can get them back to the people. But the thing we run into in the field on a regular basis is people aren't thrilled about giving up their cell phones for 24 to 48 hours. And usually in those cases, we only need small bits of data from that phone, whether, like we said, it's a picture of someone or a video of, let's say, a fight or something like that, where we could use this device, plug it into the phone. There's training that goes along with it, capture that information, download it to a USB or phone drive, and have that to be analyzed later without disturbing that person's phone for a long period of time. There is a grant currently out there. I did talk to Sergeant Doobie today from the county. He's a county detective, and he said they actually have several of these that they use on a regular basis, and he said they are a tremendous help to them. When I talked about getting one, he said that it would be a benefit to us for in the field. So I'm not asking for any kind of, I'm making you aware. I have to investigate it just a little bit further, but the manufacturer price on it is $5,885. There is a grant for the first 50 departments that utilize it for $2,531, bringing the cost to us to $3,354 for the device, the training, and other things that go with it. So I will investigate it further, but hopefully we could potentially utilize that from some money that's in our budget in certain areas that we still have for the year. I know it wasn't specifically budgeted, but I wanted to bring it to your attention that I would be probably, just a little more research, probably asking, getting a proposal together and presenting it probably at the next meeting.
How many?
So, go ahead, is there subscription fees to that?
Yes, it does then have a yearly fee. I think it's $1,295. But the one thing that's what I was kind of curious about. The one thing with that is we get a monthly update because the technology is changing basically weekly. But so by month or every month we will get that update, and it will be constantly ready to, be utilized on the current technology.
But has gathering information like this been court tested yet? It's acceptable?
From everything,
Visible?
yeah, from everything Sergeant Doobie said, they've used it for quite a while. And again, the more extensive investigations will definitely, we will take the phone in airplane mode in certain packaging to the county and let them do those. But this will help us in those situations where you don't have to ask somebody to be without their phone for 24 to 48 hours, which they're not usually willing to, but to have the actual text messages or videos or pictures for court, for the investigation is very important, so.
Just,
Question?
I don't know if you have the answer to this yet. Format-wise, on those, is it Apple compatible? I mean,
Yes, it's for both Android and Apple.
Android and Apple? Because I know Apple has their own proprietary on the video side.
You can do a couple things, and again, it's consensual, so the person will unlock their phone, we don't have to fight that side of things, so yeah.
And how many of them do you think your department may need?
I think one would be sufficient for us. And if we do utilize it, we have a great relationship with surrounding departments, so we would even be, willing if somebody's got an investigation on to allow them to use it quickly and get them the information. So it could potentially be utilized by more than just us.
Okay, thank you. There's a question. Yes, sir.
Don Miller, does it do it when you're on site with the person? Do you pull all the data off the phone, or is it
No.
select information?
Yeah, you can take the selective stuff.
They would do the factory dump at the courthouse.
Correct. We're not taking somebody's 3,000 pictures out and
Yeah.
put onto here and,
Right.
no. It's a specific,
Yep.
we're looking for specific times or specific data.
Thank you.
I think I saw one other question. Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, for a second. Is there a privacy issue? I mean, I'm not sure how,
Because they're giving us consent,
they do
there is
give you
none.
consent.
If we need to look at someone's phone and they don't want to give it to us and we have probable cause to get a search warrant, we'll take their phone. But this is for the other side of things, for those investigations where, and we had an investigation recently where somebody brought a phone in, there was an issue with someone else, and the detective had to take it down to the county building, get it downloaded, that type of thing, where he could have just done it right at station.
So this is done with consent?
Correct.
Okay.
Another question. Yes, sir.
Two quick questions. A, what is the
I'm
cost?
sorry, name.
Alan Maxwell.
Sorry.
A, what is the cost per unit? And is that $1,295 subscription fee, no matter how many units we have, or is that per unit you purchase?
Well, we would only be purchasing one, so it's the initial cost of $33.54 and that would be per unit, but we would only get one. And there's other options in reference to desktop versions of different things, and then you're getting into the $6,700 range per unit and the $20,000 per unit. So we have the ability to then take the data we have, if we need it analyzed by the county detectives who are experts on this, to get it taken care of.
Thank you.
Good tool.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Moving on, so the financial administrator's report, the roadmaster, and the zoning reports, they'll all be done at our meeting on September 16th. So we can move on to Ken. You have an MS4 update on the Stream Bank
Yes.
project.
This is an attempt to sort of push the live steak nursery project ahead a few years. And rather than waiting for about 3 years for the plants to grow enough to be able to cut live steaks from them, the plan would be to do a workshop in this coming March 2022 and purchase live steaks for participants and give them the instructions, bring in experts on doing this to demonstrate how it's done. And yesterday is a good example of why that really helps. It's stabilizing stream banks so that the soil in your backyard doesn't end up in the Chesapeake Bay and you lose part of your backyard in the process. So I've talked to some of the other organizations in town, like the Clean Water Partners, and have a list of potential speakers. And if you're interested in proceeding with this, I'll go ahead and put that in motion.
I guess the notable thing is there's MS4 credit there for the education.
Correct. This checks off a couple of boxes, and MS4 report.
Yep.
And potentially, if people come to these workshops and then do some significant work on the stream on their property, we can get credit for that too, at basically almost no cost.
Ken, what are you looking for, a motion on that, or?
Yes.
Or-
If you want to make a motion, authorize me to proceed with that.
I will make a motion then that Ken go ahead and proceed with his proposal for a live stake stream bank restoration project. Stream bank restoration workshop on Saturday in early March of 2022. We don't have an exact date. It would be either 3/5 or 3/12. And I have a second. Any questions on that? All right, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Ken. Is there anything else?
Just to mention that the installed a small weather station down at the township building, and it's now online. And when Lisa gets around to it, we'll have a link to that on our website.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay. Next item, treasurer's report, list of bills.
Yes, list of bills, general fund of $33,575.38. Any questions on that? Yes, sir.
Jeff, on page 202, under the two associates, it says $676.90 for the annual road report. What year is that for? This year or last year?
That had Ritu's Mike Nouse, the traffic engineer. He was out with Brett. I think they were looking at some of the blacktopping work. Some of that went back to July when they were blacktopping, tarring and chipping. He was out on there as an oversight.
Okay.
So I think that was the reference. Ritu's a little slow in getting their billing out sometimes.
So it's not really a road report, it's just an engineering report? Just
For the work that was done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yep, thanks.
Anybody else? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Was reading what you were saying, sorry, Alan Maxwell.
Sure.
On, I guess it's page 2 of 2, again, under 2, I guess check number 61398. There's a check there for $1,500 to Ritu for Benderson Development. Is there, we know what the details of that were, what they were doing on that project, or was that for the recent emails that the chairman provided me?
There was a lot of communication with the board, with Ritu and the traffic engineer on that. We were gathering information, trying to understand, which way to go, some of the requests that were being made. That was the majority of that. It's here if you'd like to see it.
And then there's one other, check number 61400, is a reimbursement to Steve Moss for almost $1,000, $900.
That's it. It's one of the officers on the force.
You got details on what that reimbursement was for? Was it for township business?
It's
or?
HIPAA.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, one more. Page 202, that Bob Brian Wise, by the way. Is it mag for a custom rate for $9.59?
Yes, I found out about that. I think it was over on Wabash. Maybe, Mike, you have some background on that too. There was one of the road grates that was basically falling apart. Roadmaster checked around trying to buy a pre-made one from the different precast companies. He said nothing was available that would fit. So he had one custom made at Zimmermatic. He showed me pictures of it. It's about twice as heavy as the one that was there. So it was falling apart. It needed to be replaced. So, anybody else? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries.
And also, we have electronic payment payroll of $76,726.23. And I don't need a motion, but we'll make that anyway. I make a motion to approve that as payroll.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And that motion carries.
That is my report for this.
Thank you. Okay, manager's report, Mike.
Yeah, just two quick things. The Pennsylvania, on June 30th, Governor Wolf signed into law PA Act 50, titled the Small Wireless Facilities Deployment Act. It seems like every couple of years we sign one of these laws into effect, and then municipalities have to sort of scurry to update our ordinances to come into compliance. This one, though, is one a little bit more beneficial. Generally, these type of laws are trying to be written by lobbyists, and then we're always scurrying around to try and protect the municipal interests and how we enforce them, how we protect our right-of-ways. This was sort of a combination of those, so there was input from the municipal end and the local government end throughout the process. This is really meant to regulate the construction of small wireless facilities in public right-of-ways, new technologies, 5G technologies, preserves our authority over these facilities and the right-of-ways, and enables us to implement guidelines and restrictions and processes that meet the requirement but also protect the municipality. So in doing that, this act becomes official on October 28th, 2021, but because of the changes in regard to the requirements and municipal ordinances, the new design guidelines for these, how we can go about timeframes for reviewing and approving, we're going to have to look to upgrade our municipal ordinance if we decide to do that to comply. Otherwise, we would lose some of our ability to control. For instance, if somebody wants to put a pole and a 5G device in an area where everything is underground, we would have under this law the ability to protect that area so that we don't all of a sudden have poles popping up and things in areas that we're trying to avoid to do that. So there's a couple ways of doing this. Obviously, there's companies that essentially do this type of work, and I don't know. I think back in 2015, I was looking through the ordinance book today. East Cocalico last updated our ordinance, and I'm not sure if they work with the Cohen Law Group, if anyone recalls that at all. It's a group out of Pittsburgh that specializes in these type of functions. They have in the past developed, they essentially take the current township ordinance and would review it to comply and provide a draft ordinance that meets all those guidelines. The township has input into it, and then essentially works with the township solicitor to get inserted into the proper place in the ordinance. So, not to kind of put the cart before the horse, we have a little bit of time, but I just wanted to make the board aware. I'm going to try and contact the Cohen Law Group just to get a proposal for the board, and we can look to see what that cost may be. The other component I'm looking at is there are some firms in the county that had discussed the possibility of doing a countywide ordinance that municipalities could share the cost and see if we could get that in there. So I'm going to try and pursue both items, but one, I wanted to put on your radar that we have this change and we are going to need to amend our ordinance by October 28th, and two, try and look to get some cost as to what's the most cost-effective way of doing that. So.
Yeah, let me add to that also. When they start making Pennsylvania legal changes in the wireless infrastructure, that gets extremely technical. It gets extremely specific on the legal end, and that's why we have to go to these outside legal firms to take a look at this, because it gets super, super, super specialized and specific. So Thanks, Mike.
That's all I have on that. And then,
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Jim Kenbeck, did we notify Eagle Disposal?
oh yeah, they have been sent a letter after, as per the direction of the board.
Yeah, can we hold that one till public?
Sure.
The other item I have on my report is I had received from the authority, Cocalico Township Authority, a copy of an existing standby generator study. The authority had hired Arrow Consulting to evaluate the capacity of an existing 20 kilowatt standby generator at the municipal building. The objective was to assess the potential to add loads associated with their office and associated office equipment. And part of this has been directed by the strategic risk and resiliency analysis that they're required to submit to the EPA. They need to address all kinds of risk areas for their operations, including the data processing and management of internally billing and being able to track what their wells are doing and so forth. So they need to submit this plan to the EPA for approval. They looked at the generator and identified that the existing generator at the building and the automatic transfer switch, they're housed right now in a standalone building behind the township building, and the normal emergency panel is located inside the municipal building. The generator is not classified as legally required standby power. Instead, it's an optional standby power system. I'm assuming a legally required one would be in a medical facility, somewhere like that, where they need to be able to, if the power goes out, turn that on. The existing generator load supports items in police, radio, lighting, air conditioning, air handler, circulation pump, sewer ejector pump, and I believe, Chief, also the gate. Is that?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's a sort of different concoction. They're looking at, from the authority's end, to add their office equipment, which is 4 desktops, 2 servers, a printer, and a copier. When they did their analysis, Arrow had identified that the existing base load amperage alone exceeds the amperage rating of the generator. So right now, the generator is a continuous generator, but it may not be able to support the base loads for nothing but a short period of time. So obviously adding anything else to it is not going to help that situation. It will overload the kilowatts and the amperage rating of the generator, causing it to fail. So when the recommendation came back from Arrow, they considered the age of the generator. They recommended replacing it with something that's adequately sized to support the facility's needs. They recommended a 40 kilowatt generator, a standalone weather-resistant enclosure, pad-mounted, new automatic transfer switch, retain some components of the panel, the 60A 3P breaker panel, and have a new 125A 3P breaker panel. I say those like I can tell you and point them out in the room. I can't what that is, but I want to make sure if those can in the room, you know exactly what those are. And they would need an outdoor 120 volt power for a block heater battery charge. The total projected cost that came down from the study was $29,000 for the equipment and $27,000 for the installation and other work, totaling $56,000. So when I got it, I want to make sure obviously the board got it, but my first thought was, if we're going to look to replace a generator that's going to serve the building, we really should look at making sure that it replaces everything in the building. So the township offices can maintain our work, the police can maintain what they're going to do, and the authority would be able to meet their requirements to do so. So if we're going to consider making this change down the road or looking into moving forward with that, obviously my thought was, how do we maybe get Arrow to update this study to include what they maybe didn't look at from the administrative and zoning side of the building, to make sure that we're going to be not putting something in that's going to be exceeding its load. The authority paid $5,000 for the study. That was the original cost. I reached out to Arrow today, spoke with Mike Schober. I'd asked him, just because I said I would bring this up to the board tonight, what it would cost to maybe to look to add to the analysis the administrative end. He said it'd be about 7 to 8 hours. They thought $800 to $1,000 to update that study. So we haven't, coming into this point, we haven't discussed doing anything like that with the generator. It was presented by the authority. I thought, well, we don't want to be behind it. Let's at least, if we are going to look to study it, we want to make sure we're covering all our aspects as well. And then the possibility of, since we do have a significant amount of ARPA monies that have arrived for a one-time type of purchase like this, that might be an ideal, if it's something that we want to move forward. Whether it's with what Arrow proposed or with a similar group, that would be something that we could consider using those funds for. So really opening up for discussion, since this is the first, we're all kind of giving a chance to see and talk about it and see what your thoughts are.
Chief, what's the age of the one you have there over your department? Roughly, over 10, 15
I
years?
think it would be over 10, I believe. I think Kenny was there when the building was built. And to pile on, when Mike and I were outside of the station, I talked about adding all kinds of additional stuff to the building where the new generator would be stored, but I guess that's a subject for another day. But yeah, the generator now does work, it does kick on, and it, has in the past, but we do not have everything in the police department plugged into the emergency outlets for the generator. We have certain things, the server, different computers, not all the computers, and other items in the department plugged in. The emergency lighting comes on, those type of things. But yeah, if my suggestion or request, if we're going to do this, is to do it so we can run it all and just survive for a number of days if we need to. But the one that's there is, I don't know the exact age, but it's been there a long time.
Thank you. So Mike, he's going from 2.8 kilowatts to 40 kilowatts.
Yeah, the current ones, the rating is 20, and they're going to go to 40. But that's what they proposed. And when I spoke today, again, I'm not a generator person, so I'm thinking 20 to 40 from the administrative end. We're looking at server, desktops, some lighting up there, things like that. I just didn't see that the benefit of doing this without looking at everything.
Right, so here's what I recommend, right? Gentlemen, give me your feedback here. I think what we should first do is, I like your idea about, and hearing what the chief has to say, I think we need to get a proposal here including everything. If it's going to be done, let's look at everything. Because at 15 plus years on your generator, that may be a matter of time before that goes down. Okay? So break it into two phases. So the first part of it is, what I'm thinking we should definitely do is have Arrow take a look at what are the loads required and how does that affect generator size going forward if all of those extra loads are placed on the generator. What do you think, Craig?
Well, I think that whatever we put in place going forward should have true functionality. I guess I assume that the PD has a copy machine, the sewer water authority has a copy machine. We have one or two copy machines. For the purposes of a generator, do we need 4 copy machines that can all, like, instantly become alive? And that's a question, not a statement. But should you have, if you're going to do this, then you should do it right. I agree there.
Mike, what was the increase cost?
It was like 800 to,
No, for the report. $800. So it's an extra $800.
Yeah.
I saw questions in the back.
Alan Fry, the township has a generator at Reevestown Firewall in case of a national emergency, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
we pay service contract on that every year for that.
I have a question on that. What about the other 2 fire departments and generators?
I'm sorry, hold on, let me grab the people in the back who will come.
Don Miller. The ones that, I believe the ones that service Reevestown is Dynatech. So I think that'd probably be a good place to get a quote from also.
Bingo. Yeah,
Historically, they're probably lower price than Arrow.
That's my thought. I have 2 generators at home, and they're serviced by, not Dynatech, but another one in Lebanon County. There's multiple companies that do that, sell new, sell used. You know, I had a middle of the night emergency that came in one night for my generator. So, you know, it's, to your point, yeah, I think we need to look at what Arrow's proposing here with a little more scrutiny. You know, I'm thinking that if we're gonna make a change there, it should be something worthy of running the whole building. It's, to get a little bit more size is just minimal at one point. So, you know, it'd be my thought to bring one of the other companies in first. They'll come in and look at what we have probably for free and show, you know, any discrepancies they see and what the thoughts are here in this other proposal. So that's what I would suggest.
Chief,
Oh, a couple of things, if you get,
Chief,
Don's doing. If you get the whole building, then you don't have to worry about, well, my plug in here, it's gonna work, it's not gonna work. Like ours that we had, when it kicks on, it powers everything, you can't tell anything. The second thing is, you don't pay the service contract for the other 2 fire companies though. Is that something maybe if you look forward that maybe you get a better deal if you do, hey, all 3 fire companies plus the township building?
I think aren't they the emergency center of the township there?
They are, but if something happens in Ringtown and people want to go in the fire, or whatever, they come in the fire the other 2.
Point taken.
Just something maybe to look at, if you're gonna bring it in, you're gonna upgrade that and stuff, then, hey, why don't we just throw,
Point taken.
so, just a suggestion.
thank you. Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell, do we know, has the authority made any commitment to Arrow that if, because they did the initial study, if we go with it, then we'll go with that we know of?
No, Arrow's the engineering firm that did the study for them. They were proposing a Kohler KG-40 natural gas generator was what they had put in as their cost. Arrow was just engaged to essentially look at what was required and to determine what size would be and what would be.
In that case, I highly recommend 3, maybe 4 other quotes because this is a very competitive industry. And right now they're in high demand.
Yeah, and I don't think the quote here is on the generator. I mean, they gave an estimate cost for the generator, but really the Arrow component was, do we want to go and have the engineering firm that reviewed and made this proposal look at the entire building and revise the proposal? That's one consideration. I don't know if I heard this Dynatech, if they'll do it for free, come in and look, is that what was said? That they'll come in and look at the building? Was that?
Well, I think the clarification here is Arrow did the engineering analysis for the baseline of what's there, what's your current draw, what's your kilowatt usage, where do you need to be? That's what Arrow did.
Sure, I understand.
So, and then all they did was provide a couple of estimates in terms of, because that's really the root of what their report is, then a couple of estimates related to what would a generator more or less cost. That's all they did in their report.
Right. And the hookup changes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Doug, but I'm just gonna add my 2 cents. I agree with what Jeff said and Alan. You know, Alan Maxwell, the smart thing to do is get your proposal and then bring all 3 or 4 of them into the building at the same time and let them look at each other and then give them a proposal. Here's what we want, and let them fight about it. I used to do that for a living, for high industry. And you're going to get a true cost when you do that. They all hear the same thing at the same time, in the same place. I want a green Yugo, and it's got to have square wheels, whatever.
Okay, so, thank you. So the fundamental question I have for the board then, that Mike's asking is, if we're going to ask them to do an engineering analysis on the rest of the building and the rest of the load that's required, that's an $800 cost.
Right.
Right? So do we want to have them go ahead and do that? And I think it's personally, I think it's the right thing to do if we're going to look at changing the generator and investing this kind of money, especially the age of the police department generator, and you don't have it to the rest of the building.
It is to the township part of things, isn't it? The generator does operate things upstairs, right?
There's emergency outcomes.
Yeah, there's,
It's
I
not
think,
very hard.
I saw one, or, no, right, the authority has done now, and we had, I think, I saw one in your office.
I mean,
There's only a couple of,
Right, right, I'm just saying it does some of these.
gentlemen.
No, but it's, and they're like, they should.
So,
Yeah, I think this is a good analysis, a good overview of part of the building. There again, if we could get a little feedback on what we've done before we decide.
Then to pay for the generator.
Free.
No, I didn't say that.
We could have that.
Nothing interesting.
I'm not following you, what are you proposing?
Let us contact the generator suppliers, just for an overview of what's already been laid out, and discuss with them what the additional needs are, and see what feedback. You know, if nothing else, we'll have a couple other opinions on what we have here, and give us an opportunity in 2 weeks to.
We would have a couple of other opinions. I'm not sure if you let the sizing up to the vendor as opposed to an independent such as Arrow, who would not be selling you the unit.
Did I have this wrong, but does the proposal say that they're selling equipment and installing too?
Arrow?
Yeah.
No, they're just going on.
This is, okay.
They're just meant to determine what that load, what the need is, and make
Purely,
recommendations.
it's purely the engineering analysis,
Okay.
including estimations of what the cost would be, estimations of equipment.
Okay, so they'll come in and do that for the rest of the
Right.
$800.
So,
That'll give us some at least knowledge on that.
so what I'll do is I'll make a motion that we go ahead and have Arrow, a motion for $800, not to exceed $800 for Arrow to come in, do an amendment to their current report of July 13, prepared by Mark Ebner, PE. An amendment to that report for the rest of the building.
The functional building in its entirety.
Functional building in its entirety. Thank you. So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. None opposed. Motion carries. Okay, Mike.
Yep, that's all.
Okay. Any new business, informational item to add? Okay. Public comments for non-agenda items. Please state your names clearly before you speak. Thank you.
Can I
Yes.
ask now?
Yes, ma'am.
Jim came back. Could you tell me some more about Eagle and their doings? I was behind one of their trucks the other day. They have, I don't
Eagle
know.
rental?
Huh?
Eagle rental?
No,
Eagle trash?
Eagle trash.
Okay.
They know what I'm talking about. They have a compartment for recycling and a compartment in the back for trash. They were throwing everything in both sides. They weren't recycling anything. And that's gonna affect our recycling grants we get back from the state if we have less recycling. So I'm just wondering if you notified Eagle Disposal.
Yeah, a letter was sent to Eagle Disposal following the last Board of Supervisors meeting. essentially summarizing what the board had indicated. We also made a change on the website for people to see that here we listed the other providers in the township and told them that if they weren't happy, they had obviously the option to go that route. And then listed what the board had said, indicating that we expect Eagle will be returning to collecting recyclables as per the requirement by October 1st. Okay, so they have been made aware.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Todd Miller. Was the fiber internet installed and active now from Windstream in the township building? Do we know?
Yeah, that was,
Yes, it has.
yes, that was completed.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Lorenzo Benora, 2 questions. That, I know everyone really wanted that light pole to get installed at the Crew Hotel. Is that happening or not happening, or?
That pole's been laying there for probably a month now.
I saw it laying there.
So every time I ride by, I see the stake still there. And the gentleman, though, if you recall, when they did indicate it was coming, they said it was going to take a couple weeks before they got it installed. So we are at our couple weeks. We will definitely make a call to remind them, but I do look for it, and I'm sure most of you do as well. And I'd love to see it standing up, but it's not up.
And another question, any word on, are you guys advertising it for the new zoning officer position, or is that not live yet, or?
Yeah, the advertisement is on the website. It's also, I believe, going to be in the Sunday paper this week and next week. And PSATS was having a problem with their employment page. So once they get that ready, we'll have it on the PSATS website as well. So it is out, and I did bring a copy of it here in case anyone asks.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 things actually. First, I wanted to say, Alan Maxwell, sorry. I wanted to address comments that were made at the end of last meeting in regards to Tony Luongo and his payout. During our discussion, I had made a generic statement to the board. We were discussing it, and there was no comments coming from the board. Mr. Mackey's question was directed to the chairman of the board. And I was having a discourse with the chairman of the board when I made my comment. And I apologize to Mr. Eversole and Mr. Mitchell for my generic comment. My comment was between the discourse with the chairman, and I did not mean to include the other members of the board because they were not asked at that point by Mr. Mackey for their input on it. Second, I do want to know, and I'm still questioning, why the township has paid out so much in separation fees to people that have left. Doing a little bit of research and doing some digging, we've had 5 people, I believe, leave in the past year, and all of them have had a fairly good sized settlement coming from them. Mr. Luongo's case, he received more than what company or township policy states he should have received, with no explanation as to why that was given. In one particular case, a former manager, her total benefits will be almost $300,000 till it's paid out. That's a lot of money for our little township to absorb, with no real explanation coming as to why these people are leaving and why the township is settling with them in such extraordinary amounts. And that's a question that's been bugging me since I started coming to these meetings, and continues to bug me until we can get some answers one way or the other. So I guess that's my question, is the silence, as I said last meeting, speaks volumes. And I know that there's NDAs in place, I understand that. Through my digging, I've learned that the former manager's NDA was for a lifetime NDA, which is very unusual in separation cases. They're normally given terms, but not lifetime. So that tells me right there, there's something deeper in there that we're not seeing. But it just seems really strange that we've had so many township officials, and I'm including the admin of the police department, the roadmaster, former township manager, Mr. Luongo, leave from a township that is supposedly doing well and not struggling, and then payouts being made. So I'm curious if anything can be determined, or do we have to keep digging deeper?
I guess my first comment is this. You keep referencing these questions to me, there's 2 other board members here. Okay? My first comment to you is as follows. Just because there's silence, your interpretation of that silence is very different than other people's interpretation of the silence. There are HR issues, there's legal issues, there's, in the company you work for, if someone were to call the company you work for and ask for a copy of your HR file, I doubt anybody would provide it.
I'm not asking for that.
When you're making comments related to lifetime NDAs or informations or whatever those comments you're making, I'd be very curious to know where you obtain that information and specifically who. Because that sounds to me like that's getting to be a borderline violation of those agreements. If that information is out there.
Breaks and no's have been filed, we've seen certain documents, I've seen certain documents.
I'm just.
And we can continue to file right to no's if we want to drive the township costs up for those.
And all I'm saying is we have a fiduciary responsibility which entails a lot of legal implications with those fiduciary obligations. Okay? Therefore, all I'm saying is the comments you're stating right now, I would have to get legal counsel from our counsel to find out whether it sounds like there may have been violations of those NDAs.
They came from right to no's. My other question is, we asked before in several meetings ago about what changes was coming from the township because of the amount of people leaving. Normally when a company has that many people leave, there's something going on within management that needs to change in order to stop that outflow. We've not heard of anything being done, any processes being done to help stop that outflow. But when you have several key people leave in such a short order, it's indicative of a problem within that entity.
And you have several key people that have been hired that are performing phenomenally. So there's a balance.
Not necessarily, but we'll agree to disagree.
That would
on
be
that.
your opinion. Would you like to say something, Jeff?
Well, I did pull out a copy of the employee manual, and I have it up here if anybody would like to take a look, but, you know, Mr. Mackley was right in what he announced in the previous meeting about payout. But when you look at this closely, it allows for vacation time to be taken, sick time to be taken, which could questionably be looked at as, well, if an employee wanted to look at gaming the system, so to speak, he could probably use up most of his time without the board paying it out. But I'm not a lawyer, I'm just looking at it just as an average person. I don't see any of the constraints that are in there or the details. I'm looking forward to seeing that in our new employee manual that states some of this more clearly as to what can and can't be taken. So, you know, it was a unanimous board decision to make that payout when the motion was made. There was no abstention, nobody voted no. So, yeah, I would take responsibility for that. You know, when you have an employee that wants to leave and he has been honorable in what he does, he didn't game the system at all. You know, I think it was the right thing to do in that place, and I'll stand by it.
I'd like to make a comment, Susie Mackley. I think the issue is you're not a private enterprise. You're not a for-profit business, I'm sorry. You're not a for-profit business. Everything you do, you're doing with our money, taxpayer money.
Correct.
And I think what happens, and maybe from this perspective, what we're seeing in this situation is, you know, it's a small core group of people that you work with and you like each other, and so, you know, you're gonna give them the max. You're gonna treat each other well, but that's not how it works. It's public money, public business. You have to be frugal with it. It's not like it's for profit. Like if I'm running a business and I want to treat my employees well, the problem I'm having with this payout is, how many sick days did he have over COVID when he was home for the last 2 years? That's my problem with it.
We had multiple employees at times. I think most all of the employees were working at home over COVID.
I know. So how many sick days did they use while they were at home? None.
I don't have that information.
I'm biting my tongue here, because Doug Macklin, I started this thing, and the employee manual that you're referencing, you're holding it, I'm doing this from memory for 24 years. But the crux of the matter is, it says in black and white, and any lawyer, you don't need a lawyer to interpret it, it says that, and I'm doing it from memory, they get 12 days a year. And it can accumulate up to 80 days. If my memory serves me correctly now, 80 days times 8 hours a day is 640 hours.
That's correct.
He has, and I'm not picking on Tony. My argument isn't with Tony. He got the money, you were dumb enough to give it to him, I'd run for the hills. You gave him 616 hours. That's what he had accumulated. The agreement, which is still in place, says that you buy back the township, not you, Jeff, personally, or you, RC, or the township buys back 15% of that. So by my math, and again, my memory, 15% of 616 hours is 92 and a half, 92.4 hours or something to that equation. So you do the multiplication, 92 times 32 $3 an hour is what his salary equated to. It comes up to $2,900. You're really going to check for almost $18,000. That's what I had, you know, we'll probably sit here all night because nobody's going to answer the question. That's why the meeting ended the last time. You gave away 16,000 extra dollars.
Okay, there's two more sentences to this that.
Under vacation.
Let me read the whole thing. It
Go ahead.
says sick leave here.
Sick leave, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Full-time employees are entitled to 12 days of annual sick leave.
Correct.
A total of 80 days may be accumulated.
Right.
A doctor's excuse is needed after the third consecutive day of illness.
That has nothing to do with this, right?
Sick leave may be used for your own personal illness, for an illness of your immediate family, or an emergency medical or dental appointment.
That's standard. Go ahead.
And that's where, you know, an employee could.
But the point is, Jeff, he had 616.
Here's the point. No, I look at it the other way around.
You got to look at the way it says it in there.
I understand. I suppose an employee could take this and say, you know, my back hurts here, I went to a doctor, here it is.
That's what
And
it's
it could
for.
go on and on and on. It could be used up.
So what?
That's the point.
But he
did. He was honorable and came out and we decided unanimously to pay it on.
He was honorable because he didn't use these days. That makes him honorable?
To me,
That
it
just
does.
means he's a healthy person.
All right, to me it does. Well, we got a difference of.
No, there's $16,000 that you guys gave away that doesn't belong to him.
That's fine.
I must
It's
be
not
nuts.
fine.
Anybody agree with me or
It's not
disagree with me?
It is to me.
Yes, sir.
Lorenzo Benoro. So, I'm curious why we're arguing over 19 grand and not 210,000 and 2-year paid benefits. To a previous manager, and Mr. Mackley was also on that board.
Not with Penny Gutter money.
Huh?
Not with Penny Gutter money.
When the contract was put in place, yes,
That's right, Lorenzo, but you don't even know what the thing said, do you?
I do.
Did I vote to give her insurance, yes or no? I asked you, you're making an accusation, yes or no?
Well, right now, I'm making a statement, I'm just speaking.
We're going down a path that I believe you may want to think about whether you want to go down that path.
That's fine, I didn't do anything wrong.
No, sir, no, I'm
Back to the
talking,
room out of line.
I'm talking to Mr. Lorenzo in the back specifically.
No, I'm just asking.
I'm going to say this again in this open public meeting, because I think it needs to be said again. Fortunately, this is a legal setting. There are ramifications and implications to what is said in this room. There are ramifications and implications to what is said to the board, by the chief, by the township manager, and by the public. So all I'm doing is being fair with everyone and cautioning.
Well, I wasn't trying to start an argument, I was just trying to get to a point.
Okay, go right.
I'm just trying to get to it, I was just trying to say, it just sounds, at a point, just sounds personal. That's all I was trying to say. Not that Mr. Mackley was wrong. In no way, shape, or form I was saying he was wrong.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Terry Maxwell. Getting back to the Tony Luongo situation and the paying out of the sick pay. Is that loophole or whatever being addressed in the new handbook? Because Tony was a great guy, he was a stand-up guy. I personally think he should have gotten all his pay. However, it sets a precedent. It sets a precedent maybe for an employee who is not a good guy, who is not a stand-up girl. By giving them the total payout, not what the handbook says, you're setting a precedent for future and past employees that have resigned that have not gotten that. And I just would like to know that the new handbook is going to take care of all the loopholes.
I will answer that. The new handbook that we've been working on for I believe it's over a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. Okay.
Is it taking that long because it's with attorneys?
No, you're jumping ahead. Let me answer your first question. Is that
okay? Yes.
So your first question. The new employee handbook addresses that. The new employee handbook has those changes in it.
Okay.
That was your first question. Your second question is a completely different question.
So why is it taking almost 2 years or a year and a half to make a new handbook?
Because the old handbook, that handbook had been written and there were various bits and pieces of it contained within the municipality. Some were consistent, some were inconsistent. It had been around for a long, long time. We brought a consultant in. That consultant spent some time looking at the old handbook, bringing it up to modern HR standards. Those are my words. Looking at a review and analysis of competing municipalities, what's the best new handbook we can have. That took time. Okay. One of our prior managers, Scott Russell, left, and that employee handbook was tasked then to be handled by the new manager. That took some time. COVID hit. It was just the timing of all of it. Okay.
Third question, when will it be done?
Mike.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been brought on, obviously my goal was to try, this is one of the things that have been some discussion, so the goal is to try and get this moving along as quickly as possible. And it's very close to that first draft. I submitted my comments and we've made our changes internally with the HR. Normally, the way I would see the process work is it would go to the board for their review, and then would go to the employees also for review and comment, and then come back, and then the board would, we'd have a final version ready to go and get approved. So obviously, with all the discussion that we focus on to that, the sooner the better. But the goal is to have something that's just comprehensively strong, and it's going to be something that we all can work with moving forward. So it's been, in the last 10, 12 weeks, it's been worked on quite a bunch by me and by the HR, and just want to make sure then that the board sees that we're as comprehensive as possible. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to do it.
Guesstimation on a month, 2 months, the end of the year?
Yeah, we'll definitely, it'll be going to the board within the next month easily.
Thank you.
Yeah.
RC, just one other comment.
Yes,
Mr. Maxwell said that when I asked the question last month, I kind of zeroed in on you. I sent it to you because you're the chairman of the board, but it was a question for the entire board. It was not directed towards any one individual. It was a collective group of people, because Jeff made a comment, he acknowledged that all three of you voted unanimous to do this. So it was not zeroed in on one person. It was a board question for the board.
right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Question, Cheryl, for a second. It just appears that there's like a stonewalling with the board, and I am new to this. So when there's this hemorrhaging of money in township, the questions are rightfully asked. Is the stonewalling due to legal ramifications that we can't answer? So is that like opening up a whole legal arena that we are not privy to know?
I don't know about Craig or Jeff, I don't agree with the wording or the verbiage stonewall. I don't agree with that.
Okay,
Is
there another word you'd like me to use?
No, I'm just saying, personally, I don't agree with the word stonewalling, there's no stonewalling.
So
we
there's a
have-
lack of transparency?
No, there's full transparency. Since I arrived on this board, that's why you have Zoom meetings. Since I arrived on this board, that's why you videotape the meetings. That was what was brought when I came on board.
Right, so there's the question about the money that continues to seem to be
Okay,
coming
that's a
out
second-
of a small
That's a second question, so addressing the first part of that question. So, we are required ethically, legally, to handle certain things where we must balance, even if it makes us look bad, we must balance HIPAA, confidentiality, legal. So to answer your question, those are all factors that must be balanced. Legal, HIPAA, confidentiality, HR, medical, you name it. Mr. Maxwell asked a question this evening related to an officer. The answer immediately was, it's a HIPAA item, it's a medical related item. Sorry, I can't get, you can beat us up, you can spend months asking the same question, just as a simple example, we can't answer that question. We just can't give the details behind that question. So hopefully I'm answering your question. It's not our intent, it's not what we're doing, it's just we have to work within specific confines and boundaries, and we have to work within those boundaries.
So then my interpretation is still wrong, or which appears this, is a combination of those 5 probable rationales to the dilemma, to the issues. Is that correct? Like the HR, so you understand how it appears.
I understand, I understand.
But they're the HR, the medical, the HIPAA, legal.
Contractual, right, yeah. Okay? Hopefully that helps a little bit. Yes?
Jim Kinbeck, for some of you who have not come to these meetings for maybe just started coming in the past year, that's all well and good, but all of these meetings, past meetings, are available on YouTube. And I hope you understand that Mike Hessian is a part-time employee. He is not working here full-time. He has done more in the short time that he's been here, in my opinion, than a previous manager put together. I have asked for things over and over and over again at past meetings. Just simple things like to apply for different items to get grant money. And every time I asked it, I was told it would be tabled. And Mike has done so much more than maybe you haven't been to these old meetings, but you can certainly look at them on YouTube and you can see the difference. That's all I have to say.
All right, so the next Board of Supervisors meeting will be held Thursday, September 16th. That'll be at 7 p.m. via in person and via live Zoom. That'll be, just for everyone's sake, that'll be at the Township building. So we'll be back at the Township building on Hill Road. Okay? Do we have a motion to dismiss?
Motion to
Adjourn? Second that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none?
Recording stopped.
I